But I brought out here, I have to admit, I got to confess something. Normally, Brother Doug and I both start shooting in about June. And by the last of September, we've got every gun we ever thought about going to use for the upcoming season dialed in. Well shot, but neither one of us had done that this year. I don't know what all his reason was, but my reason is I spent all summer, spring and summer, working on flintlocks, fooling around with flintlocks, particularly that Kipler Fowler. And I've neglected to get my regular centerfires even checked, you know, for the season, see if they're still hitting where they're supposed to. So, when I go in and I start looking at my ammo, what do I find? That I'm drastically short. And my main long-range rifle, which is what you have set up here at Quigley, which is where I'll do a lot of my hunting, is I've got several guns, but my main one I use is Ruger #1, 7mm mag, medium sportser. Well, this is a #1 30-06 light sport. And if you go back through the videos, look back in the length of time, this is a gun that I gave to one of my buddies 50 years ago. And Gary died a couple of years ago. And he gave me back this fine Ruger #1. And for a couple of years I've used it, and it has been, it's the gun that I've probably killed the most game with. Just because I love the gun. Of course, we love Gary, you know, and kind of in remembrance of him taking his gun, you know. And he was handicapped and paralyzed and all that. And I've got videos up on that if you care to go back and look. And he hadn't hunted in 12 years, hadn't shot a gun in 12 years, but me and Jerry, we spent all summer long getting Gary to where he could hunt again, hopefully hunt again. Fixed a gun up for him and a contraption where he could shoot. Hadn't fired a gun in 12 years. We got that all worked out, got him a blind, we worked and got everything worked out for him. And the day that the season opened, Gary died. So I've used this gun a lot in sort of remembrance of Gary, I guess you'd say. But the gun that we had worked up for him to shoot out of that contraption that we made for him was a Ruger American 30-06. And I worked up some loads for it. Well, when I go in there and look at my ammo for this gun, I've only got 4 or 5 loaded rounds and no more bullets. And on my 7mm mag, I've got 5. So I don't have many to, you know, just to check the zero. I mean, I do have 5 or 6 bullets that I can load up in 7mm mag, but I have absolutely none of these bullets, which I been shooting in this 165 grain Hornady interlock, the old interlock. Well, I don't have any of those. But what I had worked up for Gary's gun is 150 grain Hornady SSTs. So I'm going to fire a few of those Hornady SSTs in this thing, see how they're shooting it out. As far as I know, I've never fired around through it. So just as kind of backup, I guess you could say, I'm going to see where this thing's hitting. And I'm going to run around and see if I can find another box of ammo to load up a supply of what this thing's supposed to be shooting. I'll do that later on. Right now, I'm just going to put this thing on the bench and see what it'll do with those SSTs. The trail. Let me get Get this sling off here. Sling can interfere with the way your rifle lays on the rest. So first of all, I'm going to make sure my rest is adjusted right for what I'm going to be shooting here. I'm going to fire 2 or 3 kind of, I guess you say rapid fires, so this barrel don't heat up. That's a lightweight barrel. Don't take much to get it to walking. Okay. Let's check that out. Well, come on. No. The point of impact is nowhere near where it should be. It should be right at 3 inches high at 100 yards. And dead on, they're shooting about 2 inches low and 2.5 inches left. They certainly don't shoot the same in the number 1 as they do in the those loads that were the Ruger American, those 150 grain SSTs, boy, they don't do worth a flip in this number 1. I mean, the accuracy's nothing to brag about by any means. It probably looks like maybe 1.5 inches, something like that. But they shoot way off, way off. They're low and left. So I go back to the house and all I've got's 4 rounds. 4 of what this gun was zeroed in with, is 165 grain Hornady flat base, interlocked. I got 4 rounds and no bullets. So I've been looking around, going to town, whatever, looking around, trying to see what I can find. And I cannot find any of those bullets local. I've lollygagged around, got lazy, and just didn't order any, just didn't make sure I had any. And now here the season is right on top of me and I don't have any. So, what I did have was a few Sierra 165 grain boat tails. And at one of the shops, matter of fact, it happened to be Bass Pro, they had some more of those. They had the 165 grain Sierra boat tail. So I picked up a box of those. I don't recall ever shooting them in this rifle. I don't know if I have or not. But anyway, I'm going to fire a few right here and just see how they do. I've got my fingers crossed that they shoot pretty good. Because that's what I've got. We'll see. That's what happens when you get lazy and you don't. And you wait till the last minute to try to find what you need to shoot. That's surely what I did this time. Okay, let's just see here a minute. Okay. Well, yep. Let's just see. I hope they do pretty good, but we don't know. But we're about to find out. Oh, Lordy. That don't look good. Holy crap. Don't look good at all. Holy crap. That is terrible. Heavens to Betsy. That's awful. No good. I gotta go do some thinking. Heavens to purgatory. That is awful. It's pretty tight windage, but boy, did it ever string them. Heavens to Betsy. I gotta go in. See what bullets I do have. Try a different load than that. Oh, this might just be a waste too. 165 grain Sierras. They weren't any good at all. So I've got loaded up here now. .165 grain Hornady SST. Now, I'm not real fond of the SST bullets, but I've got some, so let's see what they'll do. Dang it. That accuracy's not good by any means. And it's left. So everything so far has been left for some reason. I'm going to go in and load up something different. Well, I'm going to these are 180 Spear hot core. Actually, I was using this load when I was shooting iron sights. This thing. Let's just see. boy. It likes those. Yes, sir. It likes those. But it's shooting a little low. Darest I try to raise that point of impact. You go load up a few more of those. You know, it can, the ballistics and shooting and trying to obtain accuracy or performance out of a gun, that's a fascinating thing, and it can also be an exasperating thing. But this rifle, like a whole lot of rifles, seems to show a preference when it comes down to accuracy for flat-based bullets. And bench rest shooters, unless they've changed in the last little while, every bench rest shooter that I know preferred flat-based bullets. A lot of real long-range shooters, they prefer boat tails. But certainly the 300 yards, probably 400 yards, boat tail just really doesn't have any advantage at all. And generally speaking, not quite as accurate as flat base. And this rifle here, and what testing I've done today, it flat does not like boat tail bullets. It likes flat base, and like I said, if I could have found the 165 grain Hornady interlock flat base, but I've only got 4 of them loaded, and I can't find any more bullets. So I'm readjusting my sights to shoot this 180 grain Spear hot core. As far as accuracy goes, it shot rather accurate, but it's just a little low, so I adjusted the sights up, and we'll see if that's what they do. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. But I'll fire 3 more, and I got my fingers crossed that that's the only last 3 that I have to fire to get this rifle ready for deer season. So, after adjusting the sights, come on, get up there where you're supposed to be. Oh boy. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, boy. It likes that bullet. If the barrel ain't too hot to put that third one in there with the rest of them. It's getting a little warm. Getting a little warm. Oh, that's okay. Oh yeah, it's hot as a firecracker. So it threw, I didn't wait long enough, and it threw that third one out. No, it likes that bullet okay. So I gotta go load me up a few of those. And that's what we'll go with this year. In this last 3-shot group, the first two, they're not touching. But there's a tiny little gap between them. I mean, they're not actually touching. Or maybe they're just barely touching. Oh, anyway, it's plenty accurate, and it's right at 3 inches high at 100 yards, which is where I want it. So those will be. That'll be the load of choice for this deer season in this rifle. This Ruger number 1 light sporter 30-06. And of course, when I carry this one, I think of my buddy Gary. Don't seem possible he'd be gone, but he is. A lot of water under the bridge. Anyway, I've got my load for this gun for this year, and it's 0. Yep. Okay. These 3 right here were the 155 grain SST flat bases. I'm aiming here, so they're hitting low and left. I'm aiming here, where I really want them to hit is right here, 3 inches high. But you can see those, instead of being high, they were low left. And then the 3 with the bow tail, or 65 grain bow tail, this something comes up here. That's bad, strung out like crazy. Then, whichever one this was, 165 grain, that was the Sierra bow tail, and this is a Hornady bow tail. Then I went to the 180 grain flat base. When I really, perfect 0 would be right here. They're 3/8 of an inch to the left, and the barrel's getting blistering hot, and I probably helped throw this one out too. But I guarantee you they'll all stay around here with a cool barrel. That 180 grain is a good load. It likes any of the flat base type bullets.